Hey, what's going on, TLC fam? PT coming at you here. The story of this week is ragtag team of Reddit users takes down hedge fund billionaires. How are we supposed to address this? What are we supposed to think? Let me give you a summary first. First of all, if you've seen the news lately, you have no doubt heard about the craziness that's been going on in the stock market. Pretty much how a few ragtag Reddit users were able to drive up the prices of certain stocks in the market, so much so that billionaires, billion-dollar hedge fund companies actually lost so much money out of that. Right? I don't have time to go into the nuances or the mechanics of how that happened. I placed a link below for you guys to check it out if you guys want to further your reading and see how that actually works. But for the sake of our story, the summary is this. We got these billion-dollar hedge fund companies whose main job is to invest billions to see a company fail, okay? So their job is to invest in billions or actually bet in billions of seeing a company pretty much fail. And when the company does fail, they would reap the benefits of that bet by how much they lost by, right? It's called a short sale. A group of Reddit users who have checking accounts in the 4 digits, okay, not nowhere close to millions. They're the 4 digits. These like thousands. That's like my checking account, okay? They decided to all gather together instead of letting the price of the company drop. They drove that stock up. So long story short, billionaires lost 50% of their investment, which totals in the amounts of billions of dollars. And then these 4-digit checking account peeps became millionaires overnight. It's like this reversal story, and it's a great story, right? I mean, anyone who heard the story on the internet, it was just buzzing because it's like the ultimate underdog story. Our culture deems these billion-dollar companies that make money off of the failure of another company as the villains who continues to get rich off of the backs of hardworking people, right? So of course, when this situation happened, there was this huge celebratory spirit that was just all over the internet, and it was labeled as the triumph of the people, the David versus Goliath story. It's a pretty cool story, actually. I'm pretty sure somebody is writing the screenplay for it as we speak, right? But today's word of the week is I'm trying to get us to navigate as believers. How do we navigate this narrative that's in our culture and learn how to see in it in a biblical worldview without losing ourselves in the celebration or even in the mourning? If you're a Christian, you were part of the group that actually lost money. See, there's a lot of elements in this story, but one of the elements I want to point out for our talk today is just the theme of power, right? Power. See, the biblical doctrine of sin tells us this. It tells us that we are all self-centered, okay? And no matter how good the intention is, it's done so in a way that we use people, we use things, and we even use God to get what we want, to give us value, to give us worth, to give us identity, to give us glory. See, what we do, bad or good, right? It's done to draw attention to ourselves. That's the biblical doctrine of sin. And so the bringing down of a power system and the establishment of another is not in and of itself a bad thing. The story of America is that story. I mean, unless you think that is a bad story. So anyways, that's a whole different topic. However, when you take down an institution and you replace it with another, there is a high chance that the institution is going to become corrupt because sinful people build sinful things across the board. And it's like the story of Animal Farm. If you have never read Animal Farm, go read a book, guys. Okay, Animal Farm. It's a story about the animals rebelling against the human masters, right? Taking over because they felt like the humans were taking advantage of them. But as the story progresses, we see this transition of power where it's now the animals, quote unquote, the pigs taking power. And what we see towards the end of the storyline is what? We see that the pigs ends up being just as corrupt as their human masters in the beginning, right? And so that's another issue that came up here. So as a Christian, whether you are celebrating the triumph of the Reddit people or mourning the coming loss to your stock portfolio and your retirement, see, I want us to kind of be able to navigate this correctly. And so this is my word here, okay? As a believer, we must be careful not to, with a simple umbrella statement, declare that the hedge fund people are just evil, power hungry, corrupt, vicious, and cruel. Or vice versa. We should be careful not to make an umbrella statement declaring that the Reddit rebels are naive and reckless and foolish in their undertaking. See, when you say something like that, that comes with the implication that somehow your side, whoever you represent, is better and more morally virtuous. If the Bible's right, it tells you what? Look in the mirror. You know you're not as virtuous, and you know your heart. You know that's not so. See, at the heart of the gospel of Jesus Christ is a man who laid down his life, who laid down his power, actually. He laid down his power to serve and to give. So, as a follower of Jesus, okay, we are not to value control and domination, but to value God's kingdom presence over the land and to give ourselves in such a way to serve the people of that land. So if you're a Christian out there, I hope you use the disruption that's happening in the stock market, the disruption that's happening in online, right, to create better dialogue and bring reform that will actually help more people rather than just certain people on either side. So that's my word of the week. Power corrupts, but we are called to do what? We are called to lay down our power to serve and to give. So remember that, okay? As long as we have that in mind, no matter what transition of powers happen, we still honor our God, okay? Hey guys, we love you. I love you. You guys have a great one. I'll see you next week.